We're going live.
I almost
in
went full fun
5,
card.
4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Oi!
Hey there. Oh, shoot.
There you went.
Disturbing.
Hey, I'm over here.
If you have warrants, you wear the warrant
Did you
mask.
mute me?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Check it one. Check it one.
Is Little there?
Who's
Little
sick?
is here. So, hey, John. I'm not sure what happened to my mic, but I got really quiet. Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you live from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California, just
Tra-la-la.
north of sunny Monterey, California.
Oh, yeah.
Was it sunny down there today?
I wasn't there today.
Oh, hey, happy birthday, dickhead.
Thanks, asshole. Hey, everyone. This is Liza. And if you're watching on video, hey, I'm not running the board tonight. We got a new guy running. Oh, this is going to be fun. Say, everyone, say hi to Stumpy John.
Hey.
Running
Hi,
the
everybody.
board for the
Running
first
the
time.
Running the board.
Howdy.
So if it sucks, blame Liza.
It's all his fault. It's all Liza's fault. Bad decision making.
I didn't
on
choose
Liza's
this
fault.
job. It chose me.
Also in the room tonight, it's Douglas.
Hey, how's it going?
It go.
It go.
On the Classic Girl couch tonight. It's everybody's favorite dog. It's Little. Little the dog is joining us. She got special permissions
This dog loves
from her
me.
mom. And of course, lapping up the luxury and all the pets. It's Knock.
I'm glad to announce that I am a plant dad.
Emma, leave him alone. Emma.
HR will hear about this. Oh my God.
That is scary. Oh, Lord.
Let's see. Also,
I'll put it away now.
on the Classy Girl couch, it's Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings. And don't forget to use the beans.
Exactly. And Jim. Oh, Naked Jim. He's here too.
Yes. Hey, nice to be back. And I agree with Emma. Give it the beans. When in doubt, give it the beans.
Yes, exactly.
When in
Give it
doubt,
the
beat it
beans
out.
every day.
And you guys, God, there's so much going on now.
Lots.
I've been having to make Sophie's choices of what events to attend.
Those motorcycles
Liza,
Yeah.
you forgot somebody. You forgot somebody.
Oh.
Well, he's supposed to be on the road doing a cannonball, but
But you
apparently
forgot
he's
him.
not.
Oh, no, I never said I was doing a cannonball.
I thought you were cannonballing. No.
No.
See, this is why I saw all the cannonballers go. Well, it's our favorite cannonballer. It's Bagel.
My cannonball days are done.
Are they really?
Really?
Yep.
I thought you were on the cannonball. I'm like, yeah, Bagel isn't joining us. He's
No.
cannonballing.
I'm doing the iron butt.
Ah.
I'm doing something a little bit easier.
You're doing iron buttses.
Yes.
Yes.
8 cheeks and all.
I hope you're making a video of that.
You would totally pay for
It's
that.
on his OnlyFans.
Right.
You would totally pay for that.
And T minus 12 hours, 48 minutes, and 8 seconds.
Dang.
Nice.
Ooh. We have to wait a little bit longer.
Hell yeah.
I know, but still, we going to Vintage Days.
Yeah.
Knox coming too,
Dude,
and
Nice.
I'm coming
John
too. Yeah.
for the
plane
first
tickets
time.
are fucked up, bro.
Dude, your liver's going to be
Are they
fucked
right
up in
now?
a week.
I know.
Oh,
I
a
know.
little bit.
By the way, John, I've never asked. Are you a drinker?
Yes.
Hey, you guys, should we place any bets on what time he will be naked by?
Yeah.
10:30 a.m.
Yes.
depending on the weather.
Hey, before we get into it, I want to do a big shout out and apologies to the Cleveland Moto Gang.
Oh.
What did we do now?
I did. It's not something I did, but it's something that I didn't do a good enough job of preventing. If you are coming out to AMA Vintage Days, I'm going to be there doing the Rev Sisters Film Festival in the AMA tent all weekend. But on Saturday at 2 p.m., we're doing a podcast recording, which Knock just found out about with the Cleveland Moto guys. And I kept telling the AMA guys when I was setting all up that it's the Cleveland Moto / Motorcycles and Misfits podcast.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, in the printed schedule, it's just Motorcycles and Misfits
Oh,
podcast.
boo.
I felt horrible about that.
That's the story you're going with?
Well, yeah, because hey, I want to give full credit because Phil is the one who introduced us to it in the first place.
Can we just wind Phil up and let him talk for 2 hours? Or are we sitting here?
Pretty much.
slam
Well, if we
beers?
don't have Emma there, there's no chance of us getting a word in.
That's good.
No, but they introduced us to AMA. They've been doing their podcast longer than we have. We've been fans ever since we started.
They're way cooler than we are.
They're cooler,
Yeah,
and
but-
they're our good friends, and they are our hosts at this event.
Right. They still don't know anything about the top 10 bikes ever made.
There might be some conversation about that, I think.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Well, I'm just sad that Emma and Jim won't be there to be drawing pictures of leaking dicks while we're recording live in the AMA tent.
No, unfortunately, Liza, I have a Vincent Black Shadow to finish, so I do apologize.
la-di-da.
But, you know,
If you're going to have a reason, that's a pretty good one.
thank you, Bagel.
Yeah.
So
we got a highfalutin type over here.
again, just apologies to that mistake.
Oh my god!
And that is how I
Soiled the monkey.
Soiled.
Soiled the
It was
monkey.
the dog.
You want to check your
my
pants.
God. Oh my God. All right.
The dog just died.
God, I think it enjoys it.
Did you hear what she
It's a ghost of Bosley and that inhabited that dog.
did? So
You're a biological terrorist.
so much going on. Yeah, next weekend is a big event. So yeah, as we said, Bagel is riding cross country, and we got us going out to AMA Vintage Days.
Right.
But these last 2 weekends have been also chock full of stuff.
Chock o' block.
This
in fact.
weekend was the IMS show up in Sonoma, which none of us went to, that I know.
Mhm.
But there were so many people there that we know that I always look forward to seeing, like Long Haul Paul and just so many people.
And the IMS always they always put on a really good show.
Well,
Josh went.
did he?
Yeah.
I'm sure there were people in
We were
attendance.
just talking about it last night.
But I love that they put it out at the Sonoma Raceway where it's all outdoors and like everyone just set up exhibitor tents and stuff.
Mhm.
They found a way to make it COVID safer,
Okay.
which is really cool. But I spent the last 2 weekends at Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca, having so much fun. Weekend before,
Yes.
at MotoAmerica, cool
Right.
races, and then this weekend.
Well, can I talk about what I was doing last weekend, which is why I wasn't on the podcast?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. My very, very dear friend Mike McCarthy, who is also a misfit in every way,
Oh,
shape, or
yeah.
form, got married.
Yeah.
So, well
Hey.
done.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done, Michael.
Oh, I thought you were about to talk about how he blasted his leg open.
Well, he did that too.
Ooh, yeah.
So, yeah, there was quite a few injuries actually at the wedding because Mike, of course, was hobbling around on his crutch.
Wait, weddings occurred at the injuries occurred at the wedding?
No, but there were injuries present
Was
at
it
the wedding.
some really
There were
wicked karaoke? What happened?
Pre-injured people at the wedding, you know. But no, I had a wonderful time. So thank you.
Congratulations, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations.
well done, Mike.
Congrats.
So a bunch of us went down to Laguna Seca again this week. And you were at MotoAmerica last weekend
I
too,
was
right,
there on
Douglas?
Sunday. Yeah. I went with
You want to give
Charlie.
that report?
Sure.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Well, that ties
yeah,
in
we-
perfectly with our report
we-
from yesterday.
I
was fun.
rode down with Charlie.
Yeah.
And the ride down there was cool. We got drizzled on, which was kind of weird, but it's also Monterey. We got there when the 600s were out, and just that feeling of riding into Laguna Seca after not being to a race for so long and hearing the sounds, and yeah, it was so cool. I was getting goosebumps just riding in, you know.
Smelling the race gas.
Yeah, so we got there when the 600s were out, and that was a cool race. And you know, we got free parking because we're on the bikes, and didn't have to walk far at all. And it was the crowd; it was crowded, you know, but and nobody was wearing a mask, of course. But yeah, we posted up on turn 3 right in front of the jumbotron.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh, with the
spot.
picnic
a couple
tables
hours.
there.
We were waiting
Yeah.
for Jeremy and his girlfriend and a couple other friends. And yeah, we got to we watched the baggers there. That was pretty cool. It's absolutely ridiculous. The king of the baggers.
Excuse me.
It's just scraping tailpipes and all kinds of shit. And so I wanted to say shout out to Alex, who's a listener. We bumped into Alex, and also Bill. Bumped into a couple listeners, and like I ran into Alex the first few minutes we were there, and we walked up to him, and he had a Motorcycles and Misfits shirt on. And Charlie and I walk up to him. We're like, "Hey, it's Doug and Charlie from the podcast," and we got our vampires vests on and shit. And he starts putting two together, and he starts getting all stuttery. It was so cute. I was like, "Are you a listener?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I listen occasionally, like every week. So, super cool guy. We shot the shit for about 5 minutes and went about our day. But yeah, just shout out to the listeners. Thank you so much for listening. The rest of the day was cool. We went and posted up the corkscrew, and the view from up there is amazing. And then you got the noise right behind you, and you can see majority of the track. And we wanted to do the go-karts, but I think we missed it by about half an hour. So
they had
go-karts, yeah.
Set up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
In the parking lot.
Yeah. This is a
nice.
short course, nothing crazy, but we wanted to do that and we missed it. But they had a wall of death was there.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
And
that's always awesome.
They had an inflatable ramp. They were doing motocross
Jumps.
Yeah.
I love that
Oh,
inflatable
so-
ramp.
yeah.
It's so cool.
And so we're up on top by the corkscrew looking down over the track, and we saw all of a sudden we seen bikes doing like double
Backflips
backflips
and
and
stuff.
shit.
That's cool.
It's like,
Superman.
oh, you can see it
No
down there.
hand, yeah.
Yeah. No, the races were amazing. It was just so good to be back in that type of environment and being with friends and being able to.
Yeah, somebody was saying I didn't realize there was such a variety of bikes, like the hooligan
Yeah,
racing and
the
all that. I
super
thought it
hooligan.
was just like big twins
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, but it was all sorts of stuff, huh?
No, and there was a lot of action too. The races were great. Lots of position changes and coming down that last 30 seconds of the lap, and then there's finally a pass right before the checkered flag. It was cool.
Dramatic.
Yes,
Oh,
it
that was
dramatic.
in the Super Hooligan.
That was in the
That
super-
was
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
That was the two KTMs just clearly taking the lead. I love that they had all those different bikes.
It's a great finish too because it's a long straightaway. They come really fast out of that turn 12 or 13. the
Yeah.
last
Under
turn,
that
left,
bridge there.
yeah, that last left-hander, and then they just wow.
Yeah, and they're just like pulled away from the rest of the pack, and it's just battle for first and second. And you can tell when they come around turn 1, turn 2, you're like, okay, yeah, there it is. And you can't even see what numbers are on the bike because you're so far away, but you know that they're in first and second. Yeah.
Well, this weekend we went back there for the AHRMA races, which stand for, Emma?
American Historic Motorcycle Racing Association.
There it is. And talk about a little bit of everything, Jim.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh. You have all vintage bikes from there were like CB 160s
Oh
out there.
no, way before then. There was the
What's
earliest bike I saw actually on the track being ridden in anger were there was an Indian, a Norton, and it may have been a Harley, but it may have been another Indian from the 1940s.
I was referring to engine size. I think CB.
Oh, in
160s were
terms
like
of small, yeah,
smallest,
the twins, the little 160
little ones.
twins, all the way up.
Up to
Super bikes.
super bikes,
Oh yeah,
sidecars.
sidecars.
Oh god, the sidecars are so cool.
The variety condensed in one small area was just amazing. And I wasn't at the super bikes. I don't know how crowded it was, but I know for the AHRMA, it was not crowded at all.
No.
And Laguna is so accessible. We were able to walk through the paddock, go through the actual garages. But one of my favorite parts is just you can stand right where the bikes come onto the track from the pits.
Yeah.
And in one race, there had to have been 30 or 35 motorcycles, 4 different classes in one race on the grid. So at one time, you got to see like 35 motorcycles from spanning probably 70 years, all different types of models just go all at once. It was crazy.
Oh, not just all different types of models. How old was the oldest racer out there?
Oh god, I think it was 80.
Wow.
I mean, Dave Roper was out
Yeah.
there. A lot of old guys racing.
And make no mistake, they're not riding around like old people. They are competing.
And the bikes just look so sketchy. Those little 125 and 150
wow.
race bikes, tiny tires.
You even had Yuri Berrigan out there. on his
Yuri was
crane.
out
Yeah,
there,
he was
and
Oh,
ripping.
Yuri was out there.
dear
Nice.
Yuri, he did so well.
He
But
was
you could
ripping.
see his frustration. And the trouble is, it's a mixed blessing, because when you have all different classes out on a track, it actually makes for some exciting racing. But for the people who are genuinely fast, like Yuri, it can be frustrating. And he said he spent 3/4 of the race just trying to get past the slow class. And then when he was able to actually open it up and get it into his groove, he just ran out of race.
Wait, so there were multiple classes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. At any one
yeah.
time.
Yeah, they had 4 different classes starting on the grid in one race.
My
I must have
favorite was
missed
that
that
they
one.
had the
Jeez.
electric bikes out there with the 2-strokes.
Yeah, because we were
Balance
listening,
each
like we
other.
hear the motor, the combustion bikes go by. Then there was that odd whizzing sound in the middle of it. Like, wait, what was that?
I kind of feel it sounds like a shit show as far
Oh,
as
no.
racing goes. No?
Absolutely not. I
Mm-mm.
mean, Laguna, it's the racetrack. They
It was-
always organize everything so well.
Hmm.
Let's talk about friends we ran into.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the first people we ran into when we got there.
Well,
Rob Talbot.
was Rob Talbot.
Rob
On
holding
horse.
court. He's great.
Yeah, on his really
You know-
cool BMW.
Custom
Yeah,
BMW,
Rob
yeah.
always has his entourage around him. I mean, he's so charismatic, and he's Mr. Motorcycling, in my opinion. He really is. He's a good guy.
He's
like
very,
Rob.
very generous with his time. He remembers
Yeah.
people's name.
Right.
He took a what model by R100? What was
R100?
that?
That was an R107.
You guys, he took an
R107.
R107, which would have been like a fared bike, stripped it down, put dirt bike bars on it,
It's like a street
put
scrambler.
like a 60s dirt bike kind of seat on it, got custom pipes that were flipped upside down, stainless pipes that were now scrambler style.
Okay.
Because instead of going
Wow.
down from the cylinders, they
Looked
went
good.
up.
Mhm.
All painted nice, and it looked like his version of a 60s kind of enduro.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Wow.
It was just really sweet. It was his own style. It
Yeah.
looked great.
Something you could ride through the countryside and
hmm
have a picnic and a bottle of wine.
Josh Hayes was there racing,
Yep.
and we got to go say hi to Josh
he
Hayes.
was fast.
Quick.
What was he riding? The 600?
No.
No,
Some kind of
what was he
He,
racing?
he was riding the Yamaha Superbike.
Oh,
he was
okay.
on.
Yeah.
He was in the Superbike class from. Oh God.
I don't know. It was him and another guy just
Mid
ripping.
nineties.
Yeah.
Big air-cooled 4-cylinder Yamahas. My God, those
Yeah.
things were flying.
We were at the start-finish straightaway, and we'd watch them. We could see the corkscrew from where we were standing, so we could see when they were coming. And then you look down the straightaway, and there's that big long left-hander that leads into the straightaway. And then you could hear the bikes coming, and they were screaming because they were probably going twice as fast as a lot of the
Right.
bikes out there.
Mhm.
And then you see Josh Hayes just probably riding a wheelie, not a big one, but a foot off the ground for probably 200 yards as they're
Yeah.
coming down the straightaway.
Yeah, just powering it on.
And then Demon laid on the brakes coming into that sketchy first turn.
And you
That
know,
was fun.
I've got to be honest with you. The actually Jim was with me when we were standing at the paddock, and there were all these bikes coming out, and I was actually getting quite emotional about
You
it
did.
because it was just
Like
like
TZ.
sensory overload.
Well, I got a
And-
whole new appreciation for British bikes after actually hearing and watching them race.
When you see a Norton being really used around track, and of course it's not
Yeah.
the fastest bike out there, but dear God, they sound good.
Nothing sounds like it.
And New York City Norton, they did such a good job of race preparing.
And they
these
sounded
bikes.
just as good in the dirt.
Yes.
The motocross, the British bike sounded just tough.
Oh, you were into those BSA singles.
They sounded, yeah, that was cool.
But it was great.
Can I talk about my favorite part though?
Yes, of course.
Was it the hot dog in the? Of course, it's food
It's the
related.
meat on the stick.
No. This was even cooler. Knock, you missed it.
Yeah.
So we heard that they were adding motocross.
Yes.
And I was there last weekend. I'm like, where are they doing this? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I had to get in one of the golf carts that take you around and go, can you take me to
Yeah,
motocross?
we had
Because
no
I had no idea where it was. And they took me outside of the track because the track is in like a bowl. They took me outside and up and over a hill and down into another little dip. It's like the overflow parking lawn,
Amazing.
like way beyond on
Yeah.
the edge of the property.
Yeah.
And it was perfect because it had like just a big dip, but it had like oak trees and they just strung up a track with string and hay bales. So there weren't jumps or anything. So this is like vintage. I mean, it was vintage.
It's enduro-ish or something.
Basically, it's
Yeah.
like one of those rolling hillsides in Salinas, the dry hillside, and a
Yeah.
farmer just took his tractor with a disc plow and just did a little curving track up and down
Yeah.
through the hills.
That's
It's
chill.
exactly what it was.
And you
That's
could just sit up
It
at
was
the
cool.
top of the hill, right on the edge of the track. Like we were getting sprayed with dirt
Hell yeah.
and just look down and see the whole track. And I was in heaven because you're sitting there kind of on the top of this hill, the wind hitting you, but you're in the sun.
What a shitload of dirt.
A shitload of dirt.
We had to move.
And smelling and hearing two strokes being throttled. Some people were good riders, some weren't.
Just all the
A lot
different
of
bikes.
old guys that you're like, how the heck are you doing that? You know?
Mhm.
Then they get on the bike and it's like they're young again.
And you said like it was so on any Sunday because by the
Yeah.
end, you know, the dirt there is just this super sandy loam and almost silty. And by the time we left, there were these furrows basically in the turns. No joke, like 1.5 feet deep, and guys are just like womping through them on these old bikes. Like it wasn't like modern motocross at all. It was like us going out there with football helmets on. It was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I said, dude, you're gonna walk into on any Sunday.
Yeah.
It was that cool. In fact, this will tie in. I saw a guy there wearing a Penton shirt, like people in there like vintage
Yeah.
track gear. He's wearing a Penton shirt. I'm like, dude, you ride a Penton? He goes, yeah, and just started chatting with him. I said, I'm gonna be with the Pentons next week. What?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
This is name
I don't know
dropping.
if you know this. So I'm doing the film festival. This is a big announcement.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say officially, it's not locked in, but I'm pretty sure it's happening. Next weekend at AMA Vintage Days on Sunday morning at 9:15. I am playing the Penton movie. Jim, you've seen it. It's a great movie.
Great movie. Great movie.
Well, Todd
Must see.
Huffman, who was on our show last weekend, he's the director of that film. He's going to be there. And I'm like, well, dude, do you want to like come down to the tent? We'll play it till 11:30. And he says, yeah, I could bring the Pentons. I'm like,
Nice.
what?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
John Penton is 96,
Oh, that's awesome.
still going, and his sons. And he's like, yeah, I'll bring him down to the tent. We can do a little Q&A
Fuck
/
yeah.
autograph session.
That's
I'm
rad.
like,
That's amazing.
yes.
And we saw some Pentons
Wow.
racing. It was
Yeah,
great to see
yeah.
the Pentons racing.
And I tell you what, I mean, Pentons are a great example of engineering producing very, very good looking bikes. I mean, from an engineering standpoint, Pentons were great. They were better than anything else at the time. But boy, are they good looking. They're really good looking too. They just
Yeah.
sit well.
Yeah.
So, and it was good seeing them used in anger.
Yeah, just tractoring through the furrows. It was great.
Blah.
It was the whole weekend was great. We ran into some listeners,
That's right.
Mr. Sauce.
Mhm.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Sauce. That would be Alfredo.
And
He's a white guy, right?
Yes.
and Sam.
I
Who came by
actually
the
I couldn't
garage?
tell if he was Italian,
Sam I am.
Alfredo, or he was actually Irish, Alfred O Sauce. But I think he was. Sure, I'm Alfred O Sauce now.
Somebody's been in the sauce.
You guys don't laugh. It only encourages her.
I just realized. Have you seen what color bagel is? Say something. Good God,
Hello.
bagel! What have you done to yourself?
What?
Some sun.
It's his usual shade.
I just was laughing hard.
You would know you're bright scarlet. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, Alfredo Sauce was there, and
Are you sure it
And
wasn't?
Sam.
and Sam, who came by the garage slaves, a
Yes.
very, very good egg, adventure rider. And who was that young man that we met with the
Otis.
Otis with his
Yeah, he's
lovely
doing
little
he
bull
did trials
Yes.
today. Yeah.
And big shout out to Otis for giving me some sunscreen, for helping me
Yes.
not look like a lobster, because of course I didn't come prepared.
No.
No.
Too bad nobody warned you.
Yeah, you Brits lobster out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
we lobstered very quickly.
And you guys, we went up to the top of the corkscrew.
Yep.
When they had the sidecars going.
Oh boy,
Mm.
wasn't that
Mm.
good?
Oh, and
my
one of
God.
them went off the road on the
Into
top of the corkscrew
gravel. Yeah,
into the
pit.
gravel on a
Mm.
sidecar. And I'm like, hang on, monkey, hang on.
that was just the beginning of the thing though. So they're at the top of the corkscrew and just missed that left hander.
Was
just
it to the right of the corkscrew?
Yeah.
to the right,
Yeah.
and they just
Yeah.
bury in the gravel. So you're like, everybody's like, yeah, the
And the
guy's
bike is
here.
kind of like spinning around.
So then we're like, oh, they're pushing it out. Well, he actually
no.
gets it going downhill, but then he couldn't stop it.
the monkey
So it's just
no.
plowing
it starts
downhill in the
going, the
gravel.
monkey's running
Oh,
behind, and
no.
he's like got one knee on, is just kind of being dragged down and steering it, and got it back off the track before anyone came and
Holy
back into the
shit.
gravel.
He could have very easily spun out onto the track.
Oh,
But if
it
you've ever
was
seen one of these contraptions, they don't look like the easiest thing to
And
steer in
no,
gravel
they
And
under
this
pressure.
was not one of the more modern sidecar outfits. This was a very vintage BMW.
Oh shit.
It looked
Looked like-
actually, to me, it looked like it'd been used in the Battle of the Bulge.
Yes.
So,
Or Star Wars. The
yes,
Star Wars. yeah.
potentially Star Wars. But I think actually it was a husband and wife team. It was certainly, certainly a guy and a gal.
But I'll say those Gixxer engines in those things.
Well,
were-
you know,
That's a thing.
I was kind of educating Jim as to
Yes.
sound of the things, because sidecars are always entertaining because they require more throttle input to get the things around. They're actually louder than the bikes, even though they're powered by bike engines. And it's a good example of, you hear the different engines and you hear an R1 come through, not a cross plane, just the standard R1.
And what's that sound like?
Well, it's a very, it's a
About
very,
10
very smooth linear noise.
very smooth.
But the Gixxers, there's an edge to that. There's just
Yeah,
a
more
little,
of a crisp, like a
it's
crispy.
really crisp and raspy when they
Yeah.
go through. I love listening to the sidecars.
And actually, when we were in the garages, that's the other thing I love about the AHRMA races.
Yeah.
You can just walk through the garages and look at people's bikes and say hi, and people aren't like shooing you out as long as you don't, mess with their stuff. I think they appreciate if you're taking pictures and
And-
like saying, "Hey, you even saw some
Some ascot.
ascots,
Little
racing
ascot
ascots."
inspiration.
But we were looking at one of the sidecars. A friend of mine was in that garage, and they had the whole cover off.
Yes, and you saw the fuel tank and everything.
You didn't know what you were looking at.
You don't
I'm like,
know what you're looking at.
is this?
So here's the weird thing. I don't know if you've seen these knock on the sidecar. The engine is at the back of the driver,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And then your radiator.
The exhaust comes straight out and up underneath his belly and shoots out the side right next to his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
And so you're looking at this bike that almost looks like it's backwards because
Yeah.
you're used to
Yeah.
so the exhaust is going this way and the handlebars were right there. And I'm like, wait, I'm confused.
Crazy. I don't know how they
But
see.
you know, it's
like a
all
face is a foot off the ground.
Yeah, it's all about weight distribution. And this is very, very special sidecar. This has got an aluminum, or as I would say, aluminium monocoque. So it's
Oh my.
yes, it's
wow.
got a cock, and there's only one of them. What do you call?
Knox trying to see the. No.
So now, Bagel, what
Yes.
what do you call a parrot who only has one wing?
I don't know. What do you call a parrot with one wing?
A monopoly.
Uh,
I see, I knew
I thought you were going to say a mono cockatoo.
Yes. Anyway, and we ran into Pete.
Oh,
I was
Pistol
going to
Pete.
say Pistol Pete.
Pistol
Oh, really?
Pete, who offered me a job as his monkey there and then, but I think there might have been other benefits attached to that, which I wasn't entirely comfortable with. But we
Yeah.
got a lovely picture of me and Pete
Mhm.
in the sidecar, and you gave it a try as well, didn't you?
I did. I
Not
went-
Pete, the
Well,
sidecar.
By the time I was wedged in that sidecar, in the rather compromising position, I was nervous Pete might creep up on me on that. So
Oh,
But
you got it.
you know,
Um,
you really understand that you're presented with this thing, and that they're quite large. But when you actually kind of squat yourself down in there is just no room to move.
mhm.
And then it's quite
So much power.
claustrophobic
All that,
actually being inside one. And then
all the moving room is for the monkey.
yes, exactly. It's all about getting that monkey moving about. Hang on, monkey.
We saw that poor bastard go over the rumble strips for about 50 yards.
Oh man! Ouch.
And what did Liza yell?
Hang on, monkey, hang on. I had
It was
fun.
funny though. We saw all sorts of people up at the corkscrew for the sidecar races because everybody wanted to see
Right.
Oh yeah, it was well worth it.
Apes go fast.
them.
But what a great weekend! I wanted to thank AHRMA for putting on a good event and Laguna Seca for hosting it and
Well-
adding. We didn't even mention there was a bike show and a swap meet added,
And you know,
Oh wow!
and
Oh,
as
there was
well
a
as the
swap meet?
motocross.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
How many
motocross.
My
how many
favorite.
parts were abandoned after they left?
Yeah, I
'Cause it
wonder.
was like AMA vintage days
Yeah.
where there's just a bunch of metal
Just like
recyclers.
there was a
It-
$5
Shit
table.
everywhere.
It
Gaskets and hose
really,
clamps and
it
pipes.
really had an almost like a mini vintage days feel about it. And it was the first year. So I think it's going to get bigger from this point forward.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to require a little bit of forward thinking from Laguna Seca and from AHRMA themselves. but I really think it's a brilliant event.
Next time I want them to add a hill climb going up to the corkscrew.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And
Hell yeah.
some better parking would be okay. No, I'm kidding. It's
So
funny.
actually, should we even say about our parking
Sure.
situation? So Jim and I were on comms going down there, and I'm like, all right, they offered on when you're buying your tickets that you could buy the better parking so you can park in the pits, right? VIP parking. I said, Jim, I'm going to do the thing I do where you just kind of pull up and just point like you know what
and
you're
smile
doing.
and wave and yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten into so many places like that.
So I got all of us. There's 5 of us, and I just pull up and goes, "You got passes, wrist pass?" And I'm like, "No." And I pointed at my phone and pointed forward. Yeah, and I just kept, okay, go ahead.
He's all waving and smiling. There go like 5 of us. So it's funny. So we go past the VIP parking, past the motorcycle parking. We just kind of keep going in and in because that's kind of what we end up doing. And by the time we stopped, we're at the fence right in between where the bikes entered the racetrack and the podium. It was great.
Nice.
Like, and here's
amazing.
looks like a good spot.
Looks fun.
Yeah.
Just act like you belong there.
But Bagel, you've been prepping for your trip, and I
Yes, I
heard
have.
you went shopping.
Well, I tried to go shopping yesterday, and I've been in need of a new helmet for a while. I wear through helmets pretty quickly because I do a lot of riding. And my last helmet, I think I got it in 2014 or 2015, and it's pretty beat up. And I've been kind of putting off getting a new helmet, which I was already thinking about doing before the pandemic started. But I just never got around to it. And I thought, well, let me go see if they have the helmet I'm looking for.
I'm
And
just curious. You only have like one helmet at a time?
Yeah.
I have like 5 active helmets at a
Oh.
time.
I only have one
Okay.
street helmet.
It's because you're insane, Liza.
I like what I like. So
Okay.
so I called the dealership to see if they had my size and the style I was looking for in stock. And lo and behold, they said they did. They had an XL and they could hold it for me. And I said, great, I'll come up, and kind of rearranged some plans. And I had to go up to Portland, which is about a 2-hour trip for me. But I figured it's worth it to get a nice new helmet for my big ride that I'm coming up with next week. And got up there and took a look at the helmet, and I was like, well, that's weird. That this helmet says it's a size 63 European when my old helmet says it's a size 61 European. And then I took another look, and I saw that it wasn't an XL, it was an XXL. And I said, hey, I thought you guys said you had an XL for me, and this is an XXL. And they looked and they said, oh, we must have made a mistake. And I said, oh, man. So, and this was in the high vis color that I like. And unfortunately, they did not have a high vis yellow XL. So I kind of grumbled a bit. They offered me $100 off another one, with about the same model in a different color. So I looked around, found one that was white, that was the same size, and I figured, well, $100 off, sure, I'll do it. And while I was kind of checking out the helmet, I took a look at the label inside, and it has sort of this label with the manufacture date on it. And the manufacture date was 2016.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I said, whoa, hang on.
No.
This is a 5-year-old helmet that you're trying to sell to me for full markup minus $100. But that $100 off was for not getting, for the mistake that they made not getting the right color.
Right.
This helmet is well, onto its, well towards its end of life. I mean, at least halfway. So, just from sitting on the shelf, because styrofoam degrades over time.
Yep.
So, I sat there for a minute and I was like, I really would like to have a nice new helmet for my ride. And granted, this is newer than my current helmet by about 2 years, maybe. But I just did not feel that was worth paying that price for a helmet that was, had half of its life gone just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Right.
And I can imagine that there may be some some shops that have not been able to move products as fast during the pandemic, and there may be some older stock that's sitting on the shelves. But this is 5 years old.
Right.
And
I don't know that it's pandemic related. I think it's everybody buys online.
It was old.
related.
It was old
Well,
this time last year.
Well, that's part of it too, I'm sure. But if that's the case, then if they're selling these helmets at full markup, and obviously that's driving people online, so they're not selling in the stores. But then you're left with the stock in the stores that's way out of date. And how are you going to encourage people to buy in the stores if that's the case? Because I considered buying one of these helmets online for a lot less. Unfortunately, I'd have to have it shipped from Europe, which would take a while and cost a little bit, which is kind of why I haven't done it. But and I just decided that I would try to buy one that and just sort of a spontaneous spur of the moment thing, and spend a little bit extra just to get it done, but not for a helmet that was 5 years old.
Yeah. And you need to, and I don't think I've ever bought a helmet online. I think because you kind of, they're all so different, you really have to try it on. So it's a bummer when you can't find it in person.
I mean, if it's a helmet manufacturer that and a size that you're fine. I shouldn't worry too much about shipping from Europe in terms of time. I've been ordering parts for the Vincent, and so I ordered some stuff from England, and it arrived in 3 days, and I thought, wow, that is amazing. Until I ordered an electronic ignition from France, and it came in 36 hours.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
So I'll balance that with I ordered a Merlin Jacket from the UK, and when I ordered it, they gave me a disclaimer that there may be undetermined links and delay in shipping.
Right.
Now, with that said, I got it in 3 weeks, and so that wasn't terrible.
No, that isn't.
But be mindful. Yeah.
Generally, pre-pandemic, I found shipping from England certainly was usually about a week. But in both cases, I mean, it's just ballistically quick shipping. Yeah. And the box from England, I mean, it had a giant exhaust system in it. It had a bunch of, it was a big ass box. It's amazing.
Honestly, I'm kind of torn on this. I was used to being able to go to shops to try on gear, try on helmets, see what fits. And then because so many people were buying online, most shops stopped carrying a lot of gear. I think even Phil has talked about this somewhat. They can't invest all their money in keeping the stock around.
Well,
so the fact that you have a shop that has any gear, it's kind of like, I don't know. Do you just appreciate that there's anything there?
Here's where I'll give a shout out to Cycle Gear. I had a friend who not into riding, but riding, pillion, and didn't know anything about motorcycles or helmets or any of that stuff. And we went to Cycle Gear, and they got a huge inventory of helmets there. And there was a killer woman there. She was a manager or one of the people that worked there. And she was like the best salesperson I've ever dealt with. So I took my friend, asked questions. What are you looking for? How big's your head? Probably tried on 4 or 5 different helmets before settling in on a helmet that fit good, that looked good, and my friend felt good about buying. So I will say Cycle Gear, they come through sometimes.
Let me tell you about Cycle Gear. They're just great.
And
a lot of
brands, all the brands.
It's very easy to jump on, a corporate bandwagon and all that crap. As long as you know what you're getting into, Cycle Gear is just fine. And they support the industry. I walked into my local Cycle Gear and said, hey, I've got a workshop just down the road from here. I'd like to open a wholesale account. No problem at all. 10 minutes later, I had all the paperwork I needed. I bought $300 worth of oil and toddled off back to my place. So I was very, very happy. They're really efficient. But the saddest irony about your problem, Bagel, it's the more expensive, it's the more exclusive helmets that are going to be more susceptible to this than the cheaper ones, because the cheaper ones, the built helmets, the HJCs,
flying off the shelves.
the LS2s, they fly off the shelves quickly because you're just starting off motorcycling. You want a $100 helmet.
I love my HJC helmet. Thank you very much.
I had that was my first helmet too, HJC.
They make good shit, actually.
Yeah,
I think that's my fourth helmet.
I tell you what, I love my LS2. I mean, I know it's Chinese built helmet, but it's beautifully done. It's super comfortable. It's quiet.
My dirt bike helmet's an LS2 and I love it. Super light.
Right. But the very, very high end helmets like the Arise, like the top end Shoeies, like the Schuberts.
Is that what you're getting, a Schubert bagel? Is that what you're looking for?
Yep.
And that's what, $700 helmet?
I think they were asking upwards of 800. This
Right.
is the E1.
So it's top of the line helmet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these are precisely the helmets that are sitting, gathering dust on the shelves, because they're not for everyone. And, you know, I mean, let's talk about the shelf life. It's a chemical deterioration in the lining, in the foam, expanded foam inside, and actually in the fiberglass construction of the helmet itself. It's just time. Even if you leave it locked in its box, wrapped up in its bag, it's still deteriorating because
but at what rate?
it's a slower rate, but nevertheless.
So, like, I have a helmet that's been sitting in the shelf for like 15 years. It's a really nice helmet, and maybe what is it at 85% now?
Well, I'd be curious, like, you know, just for
Which is still a good
conversation,
helmet.
for conversation's sake, what if Bagel went in and said, "I'll give you $300 for that helmet"? You know, is it like Liza said? Is it 85% compromised, 50%?
Well,
compromised?
you see,
who knows, right? I
My
guess that's it.
argument is, if you're buying a helmet of that cost, you want it 0% compromised.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
It needs to be brand freaking new.
yes,
Well, they did offer.
Unless you got it for $300.
They did offer $100 off. Remember that.
But well, that was $100 off for the fact that they told me the wrong information
Yeah.
and made me ride 2 hours out of my
Yeah,
way for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, what a
But-
pain in the ass.
But
Yeah,
but if
that
they
just
would
sucks.
offer it to me for $300,
Yeah.
I would be tempted because it still has half its life left.
See,
And you know, at that price point, you know, it's a good helmet and it's not dead yet.
and if
So-
they just want it out the door, it may
If
not be
you-
worth.
So let's do the quick math.
Yep.
An $800 helmet, and we should extrapolate that a fiberglass helmet's got a decade life,
Mhm.
presuming you don't wreck in it.
Well, is that
Right.
in the sun or not in the sun?
No, kept in the shade.
Kept in the
So-
shade and just used. I think a decade is good for a fiberglass, good quality fiberglass helmet. So that's $80 a year, right? Are we on the same
Yeah.
page?
Yeah.
So if it's 5 years old, it should be $400.
Yeah.
And that equates to $80 a year.
Yeah.
There you go.
And $100 for being a
Minus
pain in the ass.
$100 for inconveniencing you the first time round, and then your $300 offer makes a lot of sense.
And if
So-
they decide to keep it, hey, then you just move on.
So,
So-
I must have missed it. So did you end up buying this thing and keeping it?
Nope,
No,
I did not buy it.
no,
Uh,
that's what I would.
Did you
Not-
point
not-
it out to them?
Oh yeah, I did, and they were kind of surprised to realize that wow, that's a 5-year-old helmet.
Yeah, they're still
Okay.
gonna try to sell that thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't say, "Oh, we should pull those all off the shelves and not sell
Yeah,
them."
yeah, right.
Not
So, like-
not on the level.
I kind of had the same issue when I went to buy my current motorcycle jacket. I had to go to San Francisco, whatever. It was like a 45-minute drive, but I think like I have a sense that they kind of purposely make the mistake so they get you into the floor space so you could buy, look at other material merchandise. You know, it's like, hey, honest mistake.
Or-
hey."
or-
It's all that's calculated.
or a
like
helmet of a
$100
different
off the
color.
helmet. You know, yeah, exactly.
I think
Right.
Q posted about that somewhere.
We'll give you $100 off.
It's all a conspiracy with big helmet.
And pizza.
Hey, I just want to say, I think that the industry is changing so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shops can't afford to keep gear in like they used to.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, I don't want to harp on shops who can't sell as much, who may have old gear. I think I'd rather say, hey, if you go into a shop that has gear, tell them thank you, and then also double check the date.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jim, I just have to say, your phone is illuminating your balls
crotch is
right
glowing.
now.
But
It's
That's very
radioactive.
you
distracting.
know, as a shop owner,
Yeah.
if I was to have just a rudimentary selection of gear, some very, very basic helmets
Mm-hmm.
in colors and sizes, some gloves, and maybe a few jackets, that would be like a $20,000-$30,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
And that's just a lot of money for me to find up front.
Yeah.
for something that kind of sells in dribs and drabs. So I'm simply not going to bother. Especially for me, it doesn't make sense with a cycle gear, one exit down the freeway.
Right.
And that's the reciprocal agreement I've got with cycle gear.
That opened,
Right. And honestly, it almost seems with the way that the market is changing, it makes more sense for gear to be sold through shops that only deal in gear, like Cycle Gear or other shops like that, where the dealership is not going to have the same amount of traffic for that particular product. Where they're trying to sell the same, they compete by selling these things at the full markup. It's just not. It's just not gonna work that way.
And because the industry is changing, I think it's the responsibility of the shops to be aware of that and to mark down the older stuff.
Right.
So I think that's where they failed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they made all the pitfalls of the transformation.
Well, anybody who's been in retail knows that you've got to keep your stock rotated. You absolutely have to keep your stock rotating. You've got to keep the old stuff off the shelves, and you've got to get it out there, even if it means, just fire sale, get it out the door so you get the new stuff in. So I think if any criticism can be leveled at that shop in Portland, they probably just lost track of the date.
Yeah.
But it's what they do now that's really going to sort them out. They need to get those things off the shelf into the hands of consumers at whatever price and get some fresh stock.
Yep.
They should put that shit on Amazon.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Or eBay.
Well, Bagel, I'm glad that you're heading out soon. We're going to be seeing you next week.
Yep.
And I know that we're going to be getting a lot of stories on your trip, I'm sure. In fact, John was just on a trip and may have some helpful information for anyone going on a long distance trip.
Yeah,
John, where did you go?
I went to South Dakota, same place that you and Jim went last year. So
Custer.
Yeah. Hills. So Liza was looking for somebody to ride her KLR over to South Dakota. So I hold on a second, Liza. Liza's yelling at me here, guys.
I thought she was going to put her finger up your butt.
All right, so
that's a colon cleansing.
There we go. So I decided I would do that just because. And let me just say, this is my first really long distance ride. I've done a lot of long day rides, but never sort of multiple nights and things like that. So it was really a good chance for me to try.
You picked a great bike.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, I love the bike, but yeah, KLRs are. Yeah, they're for hardy people who want to go long distance. But so I decided that I was going to take as little interstate as possible. I left the Santa Cruz area and rode up through the Sierras and over to Nevada to Highway 50. And
talk into the mic, John.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Liza.
He's so nervous.
I'm doing like seven things at once here. It's like, oh my God.
Welcome to sound.
Yeah. I know why you quit sound, Doug. So I took Highway 50 across from Carson City all the way over to somewhere on the other side of Nevada. And then
how hot was it?
Hot as balls. It was the middle of a heat wave. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah. I wasn't dry. So, so a couple of things I'll say. I invested in a Climb Baja S4 jacket before I left because I knew that everything I had was pretty restrictive in terms of ventilation. That was a lifesaver. So if you're going to do anything like this in the West, you got to have the right gear, especially if you're crossing desert like that, because it's it was insane. And I also picked up one of the was a Venom undergarments, top and bottom, which is moisture wicking and such. So I firmly believe those two pieces saved the trip for me because it was brutal. I mean, it was super hot.
Well, it's unrelenting. I mean, the asphalt's probably 130 degrees.
Yeah. So it was, and it's no joke. So I mean, stopping regularly was super important for me. So every 100 miles.
And I'm just curious, what mods did you make to the bike before you left? Because it had I'm going to
stop you there. I'm going to stop you there. So, John, as a certified used vehicle from Mototown,
yes,
how did the bike itself do?
The bike was incredible.
There you go. That's all I needed to know. Okay, carry on, Liza.
Certified.
The bike,
bona fide.
It was incredible when I got it. I'll say that.
The bike had the short stock windshield, so no terrain windshield.
Yep.
And it just had some Pelican cases on the side. and some dual sport tires, but not really knobby, mostly street, but just a basic good runner with a stock seat. So you wanted to make some modifications for the trip. I know I gave you my Airhawk seat.
Yeah. So,
Which you didn't use.
No, they call me Stumpy for a good reason. So part of the issue is the stock kickstands on KLRs are tall. They just are.
Yeah.
And so even on my own KLR, I put a lower kickstand on there, which is what I swapped over into on Liza's bike. But and what would happen is when I got on, one of the reasons I did it is when I got on it with 100 pounds of gear plus my fat ass, it would, on the stock kickstand, it would like go to the right. I couldn't, I couldn't, I almost went down. So I knew, I was like, okay, I got to change this. It wasn't just height, because it was more like, height with all the weight and stuff. So, but I put this adjustable kickstand on there, which is really a great kickstand. And what it does is it has a piece that comes down with a channel in the middle, and then there's a foot piece that goes in that channel on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought I were going to be good. I put it on, but I didn't use enough Loctite.
Oh no.
And like I put on Facebook, it's like, man, KLR's Loctite is your best friend. It really is. So
big Loctite and duct tape. In the middle of like nowhere in Nevada, at this little town, I got off to take a break, and I hop off and I lean it down, and I lean it and I lean it and I lean it, and it kept leaning.
Oh no.
So I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do? So I went and I grabbed a rock and I put it underneath there, and just
I thought you were just gonna keep riding.
I would have, but it was so freaking hot, I had to stop. So so eventually what I ended up doing was stopping at a I did one bad repair, and then I stopped in the middle of Wyoming, and it was real cool because there's two other bikers there, and they saw that I was kind of fiddling around with it. So these three bikers were really helpful, Harley guys too. So shout out to Harley guys. And what I ended up doing is taking a couple pieces of channel and taping them together, sliding them up in that groove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then put 4 hose clamps on it.
Yeah.
And then wrapped it again with duct tape.
A lot of duct tape.
Duct tape's good.
Yeah.
Bagel, can you see this on the camera at all? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of duct tape.
So it was a
on your kickstand.
It's a peg leg is what it is. It's a peg leg for a KLR.
And the bike got a new name.
The name is Peg for the bike. So, and also what I got was, the truckers use those bars that go across the cargo that you kind of lock in. Pickup trucks have them too.
Yeah.
So stuff doesn't slide around. So
Yeah.
in a truck stop, I found a replaced end for one of those.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
So I was able to use that and makeshift a foot for that. When I'd stop, I'd have to like jump off, because especially if I was on dirt, that my peg leg would just go right into the ground. And so I jump off real quick, and then slide that thing under there, and I tied a string to it up to the handlebars, so that when I went back on it, I could get up, lift it off the thing, kick the kickstand back, and roll up my foot, and put in my jacket. So,
Amazing.
That's awesome.
you got to do what you got to do to get where you're going to go.
Yeah. If
sure.
it works, it ain't stupid.
Yeah.
So that it worked. It was kind of a pain, but it worked.
What were some of the highlights that you visited?
So I will say, well, the first great highlight, thanks to Liza and Jim, is stopping in Twin Falls at the Evel Knievel ramp.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard, the Evel Knievel ramp is where he did the sky cycle jump over the Snake River Canyon.
There's a memorial that's shaped like a ramp over there.
No, it's the ramp.
It's
Oh,
the
the
ramp.
ramp.
It's the literal ramp. Yeah.
So remember, he was on the
I think
sky
there's-
cycle that was bolted, so that it was a dirt ramp with concrete pads on it, and it was bolted onto that.
Okay. So
Yeah, the
they're-
rocket looked like it was an
But
empty
the-
toilet paper roll with like a fucking bottle rocket.
But the
in it.
ramp and the concrete pads.
I
are
feel
still
like
there.
they're like one memorial plaque away from littering. They're just like, if you put the plaque on there, it's not
It's
littering.
not littering.
Yeah.
Like, we don't actually want to move this thing. Let's just put a plaque
But
on
it's-
it.
Yeah, exactly.
The ramp's probably 100 vertical feet high by the
Oh,
time you
it's
get to
high.
the
Yeah, that's pretty
ocean.
high.
and
Okay,
you're
yeah.
looking down over the
beautiful.
rim of the
Yeah.
canyon.
That's wild.
It was such a trip, because I remember watching that when I was a kid. I think it was 74 when he did it. And it's an early memory is watching that thing. So just to be there was kind of cool.
That is
and
cool.
to just kind of stand there.
It-
And Elvis was there. There's a plaque that says Elvis was here too. So I got to be where Elvis and Evil were at the same time. That's
So,
pretty
so
cool.
like it's like this is reality come true when your childhood comes true, or your childhood dreams materialize and stuff. It's kind of wild, huh?
It was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool being there. So
Except you didn't ride up.
no, Liza.
I
So
did.
what I said about Liza is she's both rule follower and rule breaker at the same time.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So
Why don't we just call it picky and choosy?
well, what I figured out is she likes to enforce the rules that she likes.
I'm
and
gonna do what I
doesn't
want to
He's
do.
a hypocrite.
I will rationalize my
Yeah.
behavior as long as you want to listen.
So
Hey, can you guys make
Man, how you
room?
been?
Hey,
Hey, boy, what's happening?
Oh,
Hey,
get him.
Little.
Get him,
Yeah, it's fine.
get him, little.
it's the motocross champion of Pakistan.
Hey, Moin.
Moin.
Headphones and your mic set up. He's telling a story right now.
yeah. So thanks
So-
for breaking my story, Moin.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So then you kept going. Did you do Devil's Tower? Did you do?
So what I did was I came across through Du Bois, however they say it, Wyoming, and then and stayed the night there. And then the next day I rode through Grand Teton National Park, which is
Teton.
Oh, rad.
absolutely outstanding.
That
I've
sounds
never
amazing.
been. I've never been to that before, and it was absolutely amazing. It's the West. It's the Rockies. I saw moose and I saw buffalo and deer and
what kind of sound does a moose make?
moose.
I'm just curious. Did you see moose
100%.
and squirrel?
Now I look
No.
for Rocky.
I didn't
What,
hurt her.
what did you do to
I
that?
did
poor
not
dog?
hurt her. I picked her
Liza.
up.
ASPCA
I
hotline.
picked her
She
up.
was much happier with Knock.
I know.
You're not the
Go to
dog
your
whisperer.
favorite.
You're a dog shouter.
Yeah.
Come along, come along, come along, little.
There we go.
It's big
That's it.
country out there, though, man. You get to
It's
Wyoming
so
and that,
amazing.
it is big country.
Yeah.
So then I stayed the night in Du Bois, and then up in Bighorn National Park. So second national park was just incredible. Again, at
Yeah.
about 12,000 feet, the weather was finally cool again. I was super happy about that. And just amazing, just an amazing area to be in. And the next day I made it into South Dakota.
Nice.
Now, South Dakota, it is, again, I keep using these superlatives, but it kind of really is. I mean, those of you who've been there, this. It's the Black Hills. I don't know that arguably that's one of the best riding areas in the country.
Yeah, it's
And,
magic.
Yeah.
and we live in a great riding area.
Yeah.
Now you see why I sent a bike to live up
Right.
there
Oh,
for me.
yeah.
But of course, the big difference is our riding season here is arguably 12 months.
It is, yeah.
It ain't up there.
No.
No.
Yeah, but we also don't have over 3,000 miles of dirt road in our backyard.
Mhm.
What little dirt we have is
Yeah,
locked
exactly.
off by the government or
Right.
rich
Yep.
people,
So Iron Mountain Road is one of the main roads there. That's, that according to folks I've talked to, rivals the Dragon's Tail in Tail of Dragon in North Carolina. Just beautiful. You go up the hills, you go up elevation, up and down, and then eventually you get into these tunnels where you can see Mount Rushmore through the tunnel.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
There's a reason why they have Sturgis Bike Fest out there.
Well, yeah, and up that
There's
way,
so many great rides.
you got Spearfish Canyon in the north where it's wet and green. There's a bunch of water. You get out to the
Yeah.
western side of the
Mhm.
Black Hills.
Get
It's dry and
Needles
Savannah
Highway.
Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, the variety was.
I didn't make it
in
into the Badlands. I'd love to go over there sometime.
Yeah.
And
Too.
shout out to Michelle Lanphier and the Chalet Motel.
the
in-
chalet.
The Chalet
Custis,
Motel is
South Dakota.
amazing.
Is the
Michelle is
shit.
a phenomenal host.
Yeah.
Everybody should go there and stay at her place. And
Hell
she had
yeah.
two a young couple that was helping her out for the summer.
Daniela and Roberto,
Roberto.
from Chile.
Amazing, and they rode KLRs twice from Chile all the way up through
Yeah.
the US. 2 times, 2
Wow.
up on KLR. So
Rad.
they're a lot tougher than I am. This is why I think I'm all big and bad. Like, yeah, I just rode from California. They're like, well, we rode from Chile. So but the other thing was funny for me was like I have never seen so many Harley trikes. And
Oh, it is trikey.
yeah,
That's for sure.
and what's the other
trikey.
the KTM one,
No, the Can-Am.
the Can-Am
Oh, the
Spider,
Spider.
the
Yeah.
Spider.
Spider.
the spider.
Out here, we see them every once in a while, but I'm telling you, I saw hundreds of them there. I didn't know they
Yeah.
made that many. So,
Yeah.
so it feels like if you're going to go to over there and you're over 70, you need to have 3 wheels. That just feels like the rule.
There are an awful lot of them. Well, we forget that a lot of people visit that area from the Midwest, like Minnesota and places where it's just crazy flat.
Yeah.
And they
It's
just-
flat and straight. So it makes more sense than in California. I mean,
Yeah.
where do you find a straight road in California?
I-5, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So, what condition did you leave my bike in?
Well, peg is pegged, so
Yeah.
we have
Oh
to fix
my.
that.
That it has a name now. It's Peg.
But other than that, I think it's ready. It's good to go.
So
Yeah.
another certified used bike from Mototown.
Mototown.
So
Yeah.
you flew back after that? Or?
That's Mototown.
Yeah, that is
Marina,
Mototown.
California.
I just suggest next time, if you flew back, next time when you get there, just buy another motorcycle and ride it back.
Dang, that's true. I can complete the journey there. Huh?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's the
Come
way to
full
go.
circle.
So what a great time. So
So
go to Chalet Motel if you're there. I'm just going to keep shouting her out.
I got
because
a
think
question
it's
for
great.
you.
Yes.
This is what I ask of everybody who goes on long trips.
Yes.
At what point did you go, holy shit, I'm doing this? I mean, this could be at the end of the trip, could be beginning of the trip, midway through. What moment
I
made
would
you
say
realize
there was a section of the desert between where I was heading up to Wells, Nevada, where I stayed one night.
Where you realized you could die.
It was about 150
Why
miles.
am I doing
Yeah,
this?
exactly. It was, and I'm like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I was so bored.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. But hey,
Right
super
on.
fun, man. I had a great time, and I'm certainly going to do those kinds of rides again. And I do want to go ride those dirt roads over there because they look fabulous.
And fish.
Right on.
Well, and thank you for making a budget repair
That was a good
to,
bodge.
to the bike to keep it functioning. I just wonder if that duct tape, scrap metal repair, if you could find that on Fix My Hog.
I just
I
say
think-
congratulations, John, on experiencing some new wild shit, doing motorcycle shit.
Yeah,
That's a long
Yeah.
way, man.
It's a
That's a
long way.
long way to go.
yeah, it was-
Right.
Some real biker shit.
Knock, you just stepped all over my segue
I'm sorry.
into
Is
my
that what
read
smells?
for. No, hey, you guys, our sponsor, Fix My Hog.
Yeah, those guys, they're great.
They
and
are
they sponsor
great.
us, which makes them better still.
And actually, last week I was telling you about how Davey the Marine was here with
Yes.
his Harley that had this horrible sound. We couldn't figure out what it was. He went on Fix My Hog to try and check all the bearings and stuff like that.
Right.
But I want to give a shout out. So, hey, does your clutch need adjustment? Have you been putting off installing those new handlebars because you're not about wiring? Not sure about wiring. Brake pads need changing? Well, Fix My Hog can help. So they have an amazing offer. Sign up for Fix My Hog. You guys want to take one guess what kind of bikes they specialize in?
That would be
all bikes.
Harley
Cushman.
Davidson's.
Yes.
Greaves, I was thinking, right?
You can get a
Yeah.
premium
Yeah.
membership with this exclusive Motorcycles and Misfits deal. Get a full year of their premium membership for only $3.
Wow.
Three. Now, what is the normal
Yes.
retail price of that?
I think it's $100 something around there, or $95 something like that.
So basically, 95% off.
90, yeah.
Where do you go to get a
So-
deal like that? Right here at
So you go
Fix
to
My Hog.
go.fixmyhog.com/misfits. That's us. And take advantage of this great offer. The discount will be automatically applied at checkout. If you guys remember, they are an online community of passionate riders who are committed to mastering their wrenching skills. Premium membership will get you access to hundreds of full-length instructional videos led by master Harley-Davidson technicians. And they do know what they're doing.
I know that.
Their videos are focused on helping you develop new wrenching techniques and getting you inspired to complete new projects. So sign up for the Fix My Hog membership for only
$3.
There you go.
You know what? $3 a year for resource like that?
Dude,
Pretty
it's-
awesome.
I mean, you can't even get a cup of
Amazing.
coffee for $3.
I tell you what, I find the most remarkable out of all of this is that we still have people listening to this podcast who ride Harley Davidsons after years of Liza's trash talking.
No, not just her.
So remember, go.fixmyhog.com/misfits and get your membership. It's we put our stamp of approval on this. They know what they're doing there, and this is a great way to learn. It is the next wave of learning.
It's cheaper than Ask Miss Emma on Patreon.
Hey, man, you could get a college degree online, let alone fix a motorcycle. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
No?
What happened to our last sponsor, Moto Bandito?
I think they got
I think
buried
they
in
went-
lawsuits.
They went belly up.
I think the anal flare kit.
Low hanging bags.
Hey, Moin.
Hi.
Yeah, what's,
What's up,
up?
buddy?
I haven't seen you in years, man.
Moin Khan. I'm gonna say it.
No, don't say it. I can never
World
stop
traveler.
Yeah, definite entrepreneur, world traveler,
Player.
advocate,
Pakistani moto
player,
cross world champion.
Uh-huh.
bearded.
you. I just got handed.
I want to. Can you tell
Your
us?
ass.
Can you tell everyone where you just were?
Yeah.
You guys, knock. You're about to shit your pants.
Oh, good.
Tell everyone where you just were.
I was at this this compound called Swan Pound,
Mm-hmm.
and there are these motocross racers. One of them just won like 3 days ago the best trick at X Games.
Shit.
Kobe Raha.
Uh-huh.
He's because he was at X Games, he wasn't there today, but all his buddies are there. They built this crazy motocross track in the hills. I didn't even attempt to go close to some of the jumps. I was taking like the easy route out. It was just unbelievable, and these guys were just so. I had never met them. This was the first time I was meeting them, and they were just such amazing people. They were. I got a free lesson on how to ride a motocross track today. It was amazing. And I saw another side of Santa Cruz, because all I know about Santa Cruz is you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
and I love all of you. That's why I'm here again. And I just saw another side of
This
Santa
was in
Cruz.
Santa Cruz?
This was like
Is it going up Highway 1
Gotta be up in
at
the
the edge of
mountains.
town?
edge of town, and
Yeah, it must be near the dump.
You take a right on Highlands.
Yeah, okay.
And then the left takes you all the way there. A bunch of families, kids.
What's up, Loma Prieta?
With
Yeah.
I think so.
Loma
Yeah.
Prieta.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's up by Summit Road.
It's close to the dump.
No, it's not the dump. It's up by Summit Road, Loma Prieta. Up that direction.
Well, that's where we were supposed to go riding today. But
Yeah, Buzzards Lagoon.
yeah, we were supposed to go ride Buzzards.
It was barely 15 minutes from here.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And
Private land.
Private land. They had
Awesome.
They had a small track for kids, and there were some kids riding little 65cc bikes and just a bunch of turns. And I just just visiting these places are like life-changing for me. I'm gonna the track I have in Pakistan, my little nephew rides it, and it takes him about 10 minutes to do one lap. And after one lap, he's like on the floor. I don't want to ride anymore. So I think I'm gonna build a a bunch of turns, a bunch of big berms for him.
So I have a question for you, Moin darling. What were you riding today?
I was riding my a Yamaha 250.
Yeah,
that's right. And I remember a couple of weeks ago you had Mototown's top mechanic working on that bike with you. So how did that bike do for you today?
Absolutely. When I was about to fly from Pakistan, I was like, I need to fix this bike. I'm only going there for a few weeks. I need to get this running. I haven't turned it on in like 3 years. And then I came here and met Emma. And literally, she, I think, gave like maybe 90 seconds to the bike, and then the bike kicked in the second try.
You look so smug over there.
I know. That's the cat that ate the mouth.
That's Mototown for all your bike-related problems. We're specialists. We only do foreign and domestic.
Moin.
You won't pay more elsewhere.
By the way,
You won't pay more elsewhere.
did you see who else is on the screen there?
Yes, as soon as I sat here, I was like, is that Dom? Is that Dom can see me?
There's a bagel.
Hey, Bagel.
Hey, how's it going, Moin? Good to see you.
Good. So good to see you. So good to see you. So good to see all the scooters behind you.
Yeah.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, thanks. Leaving on a big trip on this one tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been following Brooke all over
On the Cannonball?
all the Cannonball. Oh my God. Oh,
Well, Bagel's leaving, and he's going to go meet the three of us in Ohio next weekend.
The last time I rode a Vespa scooter was with you, Bagel.
Yes.
Never again.
But I want to do it again.
Death traps.
Please tell me we can do it again.
Death traps.
Maybe I'll follow you in my car.
You can drive the truck next time.
Yeah.
So, Moin,
I'll lead the ride.
how big were the jumps at this track you were at today?
Oh my God. There were a bunch of jumps. I only attempted this 150-footer tabletop. The tabletops that I made in Pakistan, they don't shoot the bike up in the air.
Yeah.
You just like zoom through.
Mm-hmm.
And I've jumped like 80 feet or something, but you're like barely 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Over here, that 50-footer, I tried at least 25 times.
Did you send it?
The 26th time I sent it, and that was the only time I cleared the jump.
Wow.
And it was third gear pinned.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I don't know.
That's
a lot
an
of
upper
learning.
that's an upper echelon of
Yeah,
skill
those
and
guys
ability.
were
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh.
The stuff, the kind of stuff they were doing there, I was just like, I'm too late to the party. I don't want any of this.
And how did you find out about them?
I met them at Jim's house, Jim
Oh, yeah,
Eckerman.
yeah.
Just randomly, and one of Jim's housemate, Andy, she had a dirt bike outside, so we started talking, and she's like, she'd love to take me here, and here I was. It was amazing.
Wow.
And this is what I love about California, especially the Bay Area, so much. People are just, you connect with people who enjoy two wheels. You connect at a different level. You don't connect with people anywhere else in the world like that through motorcycles. But over here, you guys are very, very, very fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
you
believe it.
guys, I think we got a field trip in our future.
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
not
wanna
that
go-
lucky. I've never been there.
I got 2 collarbones. I can break the other one. I think I can afford to break the other one.
Extra incentive for you not to break the collarbone next weekend.
Yeah.
Knock. I want to get some contact info if you have. I'd love to reach out to them. And if there's
Absolutely.
some of those kind of riders here, I'm like, no way. I want to go check it out.
Yeah. It's super cool place. I'll give you the deets.
So do you think you're going back home a better rider now?
I think a bit more, maybe hopefully a better track builder.
Ah.
hey,
So
That's important.
I don't
That's
know. We
fun,
didn't really
too.
talk about this. So you've been building, I don't know if you know this, Doug. He's been building tracks back home.
Cool.
So first he built a motocross track.
Uh-huh.
And then he built his own road racing track,
Sweet.
which tell us all the vehicles you have there.
Yeah, we're having fun back there.
It sounds like it.
and the pandemic has been amazing for us because everything was shut down, so we had too much time on our
all
hands.
this
and we
time
could
and nothing
build
to do.
this.
Well, might as well
Time and
go-
heavy equipment.
might as well go rev some motors.
So the tarmac track is like almost 2 kilometers, 1.8, 1.9 kilometers is asphalt. It's basically an oversized go-kart track.
So it's like is it Gymkhana style?
Something like that.
Okay.
Something
Well,
like
maybe
that.
It sounds like a little faster than Gymkhana.
A little faster, and we
Yeah.
have a bunch of different cars and motorcycles that you can come play with. The first set of cars we got, stuff like this is difficult to find in Pakistan, and if you do find, they're either in not so good condition or just way priced high, and you have to import them and taxes and duties.
Yeah.
So everything's like 3 times more expensive. So we found these small Honda cars, about 660 cc, mid-engine,
wow. K cars.
rear wheel drive with a turbo in it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you heard of
K
these? Emma, have you heard of these?
Yes,
S2000?
please.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Not the,
Phil imports some
Really,
of those.
really
the
tiny.
S2000s of
What are they
Right.
called?
These are called Honda 660s. They're like the smaller baby brother of the S2000.
Oh, that
Wow.
sounds amazing.
But they're so much fun, and this go-kart track, this oversized go-kart track, these cars are just the perfect power on that
Yeah.
track that you need. Anything faster, you'd be like stuck in first gear.
Right.
Oh, this looks like fun.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My mom had an S2000 in the year
hello.
in the year 2000. She bought the first production year, and I was in high school with that, or just graduated high school, so I was out there ripping
This
that thing
is
around.
kind of like
Oh,
is
so
it
much wicked fun.
MR2?
It's
Is
kind of
that
futuristic.
yeah? Oh, that's
let me,
cool.
Let me see that.
Yeah, it's a good looking little
think
car.
Turbo.
MR2s are
Wow.
also
Yes.
1.8 liter.
Yeah.
This is just like 6.6.
Why don't we get these here?
I know.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
And what else you got
They're,
there?
they're super fun. And then we have some Tony karts. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
No.
go-karts, but
Yeah.
Tony karts are super, super lightweight. And
Jim?
they have 2-stroke motors on it, like race motors. Those karts make me dizzy just going in a straight line. There's so much G-force.
Yeah, they're only like 125 or
Wow.
something.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Something like
And
that,
some of these cars that we have, they have 250 2-stroke engines, and they're just so fast.
Yeah.
You can the track is big, but still like third gear
Yeah, they don't.
flooring
They don't weigh anything.
it feels like my soul is being sucked out. It's coming out of my ears.
It's just the old rocket engine paper plate theory.
Yeah.
Like,
But
way
of
overpowered.
course, we had to build a go-kart ourselves as
Sure.
well, and put a stupid ass big engine. So we put a XR 650 engine in one of the go-karts. We had to extend the chassis of the cart, and then it has a stick shift right here.
Oh hell yeah!
And then shifting into from third to fourth is not fun because you're going sideways. And tires on that, barely a week on that track, and the tires are done. Too much power. We broke the chassis a few times, just rewelded. And
You have had a lot of time on your hands.
You guys, it gets even better. You have a crew there to fix stuff. Where'd you get your crew?
So Porsche International was in Pakistan. They got into some financial trouble, whatever, and they shut down. So we at the track is at SA Gardens, and these guys, we together got all their mechanics on board.
Wow.
We
Has a fleet of Porsche mechanics
Oh my
to
god.
take care of his toys.
and the way they've meticulously fixed my dirt bike, that's like money for me right there. But they fix they're there for cars. We also as a team at SA Garden, we do rally racing all over the country.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Tell him what kind of truck you got.
So we have a bunch of
Oh yeah, and he's got a rally truck.
Right, truck,
Oh, tracks
Wow.
also.
Because you need that to complete the set.
so the rally track that I built, it's very close to the motorcycle tracks. It's about 30 kilometers, a bunch of elevation and stuff. You can go easy 200 to 10 Ks on that, not miles, but kilometers. And it's 30 kilometers. It's short, but still just to practice for bigger rallies in deserts and in the mountains in Pakistan. This is like the perfect platform.
Yeah.
And Lahore, my city, well, anywhere in the country, the tracks are not super accessible, not close to people where live. They're far into the desert. But this track is kind of smack center, right next to Lahore. So a lot of people come and practice, and I think there's a new generation who has access to this track, who's gonna eventually participate in bigger competitive rallies and beat the old guys who've been winning for like the last few decades.
Yeah.
Oh, and
So,
we're not done
that's
yet.
really
Hold
cool.
on. Tell him what your dirt bike is there.
Oh yeah, so SA Garden, where the track is, these guys saw me racing on a 250, and everyone else, about 20 other guys, ride 450s and Husky 510s, and in desert races, I placed second twice, and the owner of SA Garden, he was like, I thought you knew how to ride a motorcycle. You got second 2 times, like what is going on? So he's like, okay, I'm gonna buy you a bike. Tell me, what bike do you want? So he got me the race team owns it, I don't own it, but he got me a brand new 2020 YZ 450.
Oh wow.
And that thing, coming from a 250,
Oh yeah.
You've got all the power.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
weighs the same, and it's got
way
Whole
way
new
too
world.
much power that I will ever be able to utilize. But in desert races, I can keep up with the fast guys now.
Yeah.
I can hold them a little bit. But it's been fun, and I've raced on that bike through the pandemic. I think there were 4 races.
Yeah.
There were 5 races. I couldn't attend one. I was injured. The other 4 I won. So
Wow.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, the 400
So,
to
if
you
450
finish, you're gonna
size
win.
seems to be right about the sweet spots for desert racing, because the XR 650 was dominating
Yeah.
for a long time, and then the 400 started smacking the shit out.
yeah.
All right, who wants to go to Pakistan now?
Yeah, right.
I absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
As long as we
Moin,
get to eat, I'm in.
are you the guy to talk to when it comes to motorsports in Pakistan? Is this what's happening right now?
Yeah.
That's what you're telling us?
That's the thing. And I'll
Bull.
just say, we keep introducing him to people. He's the motocross champion of Pakistan, which he's so embarrassed by, because basically he's creating the industry
Right.
there. He's building the track, hosting the races, and growing all of the sports. Yeah, it's amazing.
But
Big in that culture.
my introduction to Moin, I mean, aside from the whole Chikistan and the trip that Nock went on, is you're something of a
bagel.
you're something of a celebrity back home, aren't you? You know, don't you
How you ask somebody that?
Are you like an underwear?
No, I mean,
No, Garnier.
He's an underwear model.
You-
in,
No,
you-
Professional
shampoo.
wrestler.
yeah, I was going to
shampoo.
say you do. You're on the TV as well, aren't you?
I think initially when I was a bit more prettier, when I first moved back to the US, from US back home, I was in the limelight a little bit, but I'm not sure if I enjoy that public eye so much.
Right.
I still do like gigs off and on, small stuff, but I honestly really enjoy standing in the sun with a bunch of big earth moving equipment and just building stuff, and bringing people who have nobody in their family have ridden a motorcycle.
Right.
Girls whose families, dads, brothers don't ride motorcycles, but they come and learn at this track.
That's awesome.
I'm not a group rider at all. I'm probably a C or D, but I just the most fun thing for me is getting somebody on two wheels in a country like Pakistan, and then they taking that experience and then actually buying a motorcycle,
Right.
and then going to work on that because they can't afford a car, they can afford a motorcycle, and so that whole thing is just is the meat of
Oh, right.
everything.
Moin, the luckiest amongst us all find our path in life. And I'm very lucky to have found that. And it sounds like you have as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I will say that whatever Moin is doing, he's the guy who delivers.
Yeah.
That,
Or if
no,
you're
that's.
in a
I
pinch,
mean,
Moin will have your back, right?
yeah. Whatever somebody needs,
Well-
Moin can deliver, and that's what he does for a
I
living.
think I think I fail a lot, but I try my best to give my 100%.
Well, there's a responsibility because what you're taking a lot of people who've never been outside the US before and introducing them to a different country, but a completely different culture as well. So there is a responsibility with that to make sure everybody's kept safe, to make sure nobody offends anybody else or gets offended, and just keep them safe and keep them happy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, don't sell yourself short. You do a very good job of that, I believe.
And you've been getting some good riding in while you're here.
Oh yeah. I went to Hollister with Mike and
Charlie.
They
tried to kill you.
That was epic. They did. They tried their best. I squeezed my front brake when they were like really going at it. I was like, I'm stopping, parked right here. But I had a great time. Went to Carnegie with Scott.
Nice.
Carnegie's a blast.
Yeah, but their motocross track has like boulders, not like dirt rocks, but like
that motocross track is gnarly there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're going to be going back soon.
Yes,
to
I
Pakistan,
think in like 3 days.
where I get to see you soon.
Yes. 1 month and a half or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's coming up.
Yeah.
That's why
You can't get away from her.
This is why John is running the board tonight, because I got to teach him for when I'm gone.
Yep.
I know. Well, it's so exciting. I'm so glad to have you here, having a lot of fun. And now I got to go find out about this motocross track.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if you're thinking about extending your trip a little bit, just to come,
I know.
just to come to Lahore and
I know.
Yeah.
check out my compound there.
I need to come back for that. I think we got a little more time. I wanted to talk real quick about our favorite misfit, award-winning Mike.
Oh, Mikey.
Yeah.
Mikey.
Let's see,
Love
Jim.
Mike.
I think you missed this whole thing today.
You missed
The debacle.
Was this today?
So here's
Well,
the deal.
We need to approach this
I'm
carefully.
going to. Mike was interested in purchasing a used bike from somebody
Right.
who flips bikes. And it sounded like a really cool bike. And in fact, the XV920 Virago is a very common donor engine. I think that the Virago 920 is not a spectacular bike in its stock form.
Right.
But that motor is, and you can see some really
Well, this wasn't
cool
a Virago
custom.
engine. This was an XV920R. This was the chain drive one.
Okay. they're great engines. You can find some really cool. Billy Joel has one that
Right.
looks like a Vincent.
Right.
And this one, we don't know who turned it into a cafe racer, but it went from a cruiser to a cafe racer. And Mike, I think, had pie eyes because it looked cool. So he went to go check it out and take it for a test ride, which he did a test ride down to the garage. He pulled up covered in smoke and the smell of oil. And I will let Emma take it from here.
Well, you know, I want to make it clear that it was a nice bike, and as surprising as you may find it, the cafe racer genre is never one I liked. I've never. It's not a bad genre. It's just not my cup of tea. To me, a cafe racer is a Triton. You know, it's a pre-unit Triumph engine in a Norton frame. And a Virago will never really make a cafe racer. And I know that probably upsets a lot of people, but it's not my bag. So I was kind of approaching it just from, what is this thing?
An autopsy.
It's very white.
From a that's exactly what it looked like. Jim showing me a picture of it.
Once the smoke went away, it was a 10-footer.
I would say it was a bike that some thought had gone into it, but it was about 70% there.
And this is exactly why I want to talk about it, because there were signs.
There were signs.
And this is what I want to talk about. For anyone looking to buy a bike, there are signs.
And there
Smoke.
were
Smoke.
First the smoke comes in. So we'll deal with each individual thing. There was the classic thing. The wiring on it was extremely hokey.
Yeah.
Crimp on Ace Hardware.
Butt splice connectors.
Butt splice connectors.
Like
To
what we
me-
use on ours.
Yeah, to me, it's the kiss of death.
Mhm.
If you're wiring a bike, you use proper Japanese
Mhm.
connectors, or you do solder joints. You know, that's this crimp-on stuff, and just badly routed, badly fitting. The carburation was all over the place. The front plug was very, very black. The back plug was very, very pale.
It was literally all over the place, right? There was like fuel
yeah,
coming out of the
There was
ground.
fuel everywhere, yeah.
It had a severe leak from the front carburetor.
There was gas
Sure.
pouring out of the air filter on the side and out of the exhaust
And
pipe.
the exhaust pipe.
And the exhaust,
Yeah.
well, because of course it dumped it all into the combustion chamber and then out.
I sat on it and tilted it upright, and then the
gas
gas
just went
came right out of the air filter.
Not catch
Yeah.
The smoking, what the problem
Yeah.
is, when people build cafe racers, they think, oh, we've got to wrap the pipes, got to
Yes,
wrap the pipes,
pipes.
wrap the pipes because they're good. But the trouble is the wrapping is a fiber material. So if you have an oil leak, it soaks into the fiber and then everything starts smoking and smelling bad. That bike had multiple oil leaks. There was oil everywhere.
Well, another sign on the side cover that was leaking, there was visible gasket maker protruding.
Right.
Not gasket maker. That's a sign of somebody, as you said, you looked it up. That's a $25 gasket. So if they're taking shortcuts.
Right. The gasket's still available
Yeah.
from Yamaha. It's a
Yeah.
good part number. It's, the retail on it was $25. Anyone could,
That's
probably
a
buy it for
sign.
20.
Well, I
Um,
feel like you probably had a better chance making one out of a cardboard like cereal box. instead of
My
an actual,
favorite gasket
cornflakes.
material will always be a cornflake box.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Always. It's the best gasket material ever made.
There were some other signs. For instance, it had what I thought looked like pretty nice rear sets on it,
Right.
but
Yeah, but the way the rear sets were set up, and this is very, very important for people, you've got to think about the mechanics. Go back to school and think about your class in physics. If you have a crank with a rod coming off it, it's at its optimum when the angle between the rod and the crank is about 90 degrees. So when you operate it, it goes either just beyond or just the other side of 90 degrees. Well, this one, the rod was obviously too long. So the crank was at this crazy sort of 60-degree angle. And then the crank on the pedal was at a sort of 60-degree angle going the other way. So the consequence was the rear brake felt very hokey. And there were just things like it had got a very nice rear shock on it. So big plus there. but to get the shock to fit, they're just kind of stuffed in a load of washers either side of a
Yeah.
pin.
And then there was a cotter pin.
And they're just a cotter pin holding it all. It was
together.
extremely hokey.
It's a fully adjustable shock, but like the rebound adjuster was blocked by bodywork.
All you
frame.
had to do to cure that was turn the shock the other way.
Yeah.
And nobody had thought of that.
Wow.
So, it's just, you'd stand back and look at it and think, okay, this thing's got potential.
Mhm.
But then you'd kind of focus in and realize how much work. And Mike said, well, listen, I want to buy it and just give it to you to work on. And I said, Mike, make no mistake. I will spend $2,500-3,000 on this bike very quickly, really quickly.
Oh, another sign. The tires first were mismatched
And very oversized.
and
Very over.
and they were 12 years old.
Right.
Ooh.
And the expiration on the tags was 2014.
So
this thing had been sitting for a long time.
My guess is what had happened with this bike, it had been built a long time ago. It's probably built maybe 8-9 years ago, when these bikes are more fashionable than they are now. I know Liza said the cafe racer thing's never going to go away. And that's largely true, but there are cafe racers and cafe racers.
As I said, as long as they keep making 20-year-old men,
right,
cafe racers will be in.
And the whole sort of Virago and XV movement came out of LA. This guy called Hagerman, who was churning these things out, and it was a very formulaic build. You had to have a Benelli Mojave fuel tank and a little bump stop seat and this little subframe, which he eventually marketed. And they were very, very voguish about 8 to 10 years ago, and they've kind of lost vogue a little now. It was one of them bikes. So I'm guessing it was probably made about 7 or 8 years ago. And my prediction was when it was new, it probably did quite well. I mean, it's the kind of bike you take to a local show and the people are, it's got a nice shiny paintwork. But there was just so many of my pet peeves on the bike. It's like, why have this beautiful paint job on a bike and rusty nuts and bolts holding it together? Kick down for some chrome nuts and bolts, or stainless steel, or just nice and nicely finished stuff. Don't just slap a load of flat black paint. Get a bit of chroming done. Yes, chroming is expensive, but it's just
So, and I think what we were telling Mike is, we're not saying don't get it, but understand all the things going in.
the
what you're gonna have to
gentleman
do.
I felt was asking all the money for
So-
it.
The guy was wanted $5,000 for that.
Yeah,
thing.
wanted $5,000 for it.
I was
Yeah,
like, no bueno, dude.
which we all said was a $3,500 bike
Yeah, I think it was less than that.
Shit.
if it wasn't
sorted
leaking
out.
stuff.
I mean,
I'd rather
Right.
get a modern
Right.
super
It's
sport.
not
for
even a good looking bike.
And all it
$2,000.
takes, and make no mistake, it's only an oil leak. Only an oil leak can be just a gasket. Okay, so just a gasket,
Mhm.
45 minutes labor, and a $25 gasket. Well,
Could be a
couple
head gasket.
of $100. Now you got your gasket fixed. Well, no, hang on. It could be a helicoil, a stripped thread. So now you got to helicoil it. Well, a helicoil is now a helicoil to do it properly, to do a properly machined helicoil. So it could be that. It could be a cracked case. You simply don't know.
But when it's a flipper who's selling it and they haven't done these simple things, that personally, for me, when I sell a bike to somebody, I want to know that I'm selling them a safe vehicle. And the fact that he let Mike go on a test ride leaking oil and gas.
I wonder if he knew.
Doesn't seem like a good idea.
Perhaps
I don't
Right?
think he knew like the thing was leaking oil. I think he just got the bike, put
He
gas
might
in
have
it.
just
so-
It didn't go on the ground. It went
Or
under
maybe
the,
he just-
the exhaust wrap.
no.
Yeah.
I like
Or
like
maybe
to
he just
give
thought Mike was
people
going to take her
the,
on the block.
right, but I
Yeah.
like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think anybody would knowingly say, "Oh, it's an unsafe bike. Go out and take a test ride."
Sure.
I think he just genuinely didn't know, but the bike needed a lot of help.
I will say though, it sounded phenomenal.
It sounded good.
That big twin engine and those like Dunstall style exhaust, it sounded great.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it hooked up pretty well.
Really nice.
It needed a little help with the carburation, but it's, they've got a nice noise to them.
So he was able to start it and ride it out of here,
Oh yeah,
despite the massive amounts of fuel coming out of the air.
Well, we did a little diddling on the carbs, and we got him. You know, that's my mantra. You push them in, you ride them out.
You diddle them and then you push them out.
You ride them out, and then we did the vino today as well.
Yeah. So I'm just curious here in the room. Let's take a vote. Who here thinks that Mike bought the bike regardless?
He's a stubborn fucker. So yeah, I'm gonna
next
vote
question.
yes.
3, 4. Yeah.
No,
It looks
I
so
think
cool, though.
right
No, it
now
doesn't.
Mike owns that Virago.
Now here's the
yeah.
question: Will Mike have the balls to bring it down to Emma? to work on?
No,
I hope he
Mike.
tows it.
No, Mike's going to bring it down to me. If he buys it, he'll bring it down to me, no question. And, you know, he'll probably tell me what he paid for it because, you know, me and Mike have that kind of friendship, that relationship, because he knows I'm not going to judge him, at least not to his face.
Only on the podcast, that would be.
But, you know,
I told him offer 2,200 and point out all the issues.
Things,
And basically, you're going to have to do a teardown of
But-
everything.
Yeah.
I think the point I want to make about all this, because it's very easy to think, oh, yeah, we're trashing Mike, and we're not.
No, we're not.
No.
The
not at all.
lessons to be learned from this is when you buy a custom bike,
Mhm.
remember you're buying something that's not been built by the manufacturer. It is no longer a product of Yamaha.
Mhm.
And that's largely true of any used bike. I mean, you know, you're buying a bike that's the product of somebody who's been maintaining it for the last 10 years. But when you buy a full custom bike, you're buying somebody else's dream, and people have wildly different skill levels
Mhm.
and wildly different expectations about what makes a good bike. And to put it into perspective, I sold my Guzzi for $5,000,
Mhm.
and that is an ex-show winner.
Yeah.
And that bike, I would guarantee anybody you could ride it across the country, and it's safe, and it doesn't leak oil, and it sounds bitching, and it ticks all the boxes. And I felt that was a fair price for that
Mhm.
bike because it's a custom bike. Unless you are absolutely at the top of your game, a custom bike's not going to fetch as much as a stock one.
Well, I thought your Guzzi was worth more, but in this case, I felt like this is one of those cool looking cafe racer that some young guy is going to buy. $5,000 to them is still cheaper than any new bike at the
Right.
dealership.
Yeah.
And just like Mike, who saw an actually like a nice looking lines, good, you know, cool engine, a somewhat rarish, people, you know, uncommon bike. And I think he saw that just like any young guy would and was like, oh, I want it.
Are you saying he's immature?
No, I'm saying that Mike has good aesthetics.
Yeah, he does.
And I thought that bike actually had cool lines and was kind of uncommon. And I think that was the draw for him. So we'll see. Well, I guess we'll have to wait next week to see what he got it for. But until then, Emma,
Yes, darling.
you have an email I want you to read.
Oh, God, I lost it.
You better find it because this is a really good one. Did you turn it into a paper airplane or something? Emma,
She's drawing dicks on it.
I
and shit.
wrote your name on it because it's really special.
What are you doing
Okay.
right now?
I don't know what I
Made it
did.
even more special.
No, I didn't. I haven't made any paper
John's pointing
planes
at
out of
something.
anything.
You're upsetting the dog.
It says your name at the top. Okay.
This is a quality production, people.
While she's looking for that, Douglas, can you read the one you have?
Sure. This one is
Oh, it's
titled.
right here.
Okay.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. Knock was sitting on it,
It was
guy.
right here.
Knock was
Okay.
sitting on it.
Maybe.
Knock. All right. Hold on, Douglas.
Yep.
Emma, go ahead, because this is a good one. There's some really good points in here.
Well, I've got. Do you want me to read the one from Ethan?
Is it the one that says your name at the top?
Yeah, Emma.
Yeah.
Okay. So this says, Liza, happy birthday
Thank you.
from Ethan Meyer
Yes.
to us. From Ethan in Portland with a gold CB 450. I've been looking forward to wishing us happy birthday ever since I learned of our shared birthday, which is July 17th, aka the emoji July 17th birthday, aka the best birthday.
I think that was the wrong one. And thank you.
True.
I told you, Liza. It
What's
has my
underneath
name.
it? What's underneath it?
Okay.
Is there another email? I think I got stapled on.
Episode hashtag
This-
405 update
This
from
is
Mike
it.
Williams.
Here we go.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello, Liza and the Misfits.
Hey.
5 months ago, I had the chance to be a part of the Light at the End of the Tunnel episode, number
Yeah.
405, where we talked about our hopes for motorcycling in a post-COVID world.
God, you guys remember that? I mean, we're in the
Yeah.
light now, but
Yeah.
Kind of.
Even though we are not yet fully out of the pandemic, I wanted to give you an update and let you know that my two-wheel goals for 2021 have already been achieved.
Mazel
Hey.
tov. Mazel tov.
On the show, I talked about my plans to participate in the Motorcycle Relief Project, a therapeutic adventure riding school for veterans and first responders.
do you guys remember we've had them on
Oh,
this
yeah.
show
Yeah.
before?
Yeah, really
I
cool.
remember Mike very, very well. Not only did MRP introduce me to the joy of off-road riding, I got to meet some amazing people and find some healing. I would recommend the program to anybody dealing with emotional garbage as a result of their service. Amen, Mike. A week in the mountains of Arizona with expert instructors allowed me to do things on a motorcycle I never knew possible. The confidence and relationships we built were life-changing. There are no quick fixes in life, but ever since I got back, things have been pointed in the right direction. A BMW 1200 GS
Yay.
has been added to my garage, and weekly, I wonder where this road goes rides help keep me sane.
nice.
The other goal you encouraged me to pursue was my desire to learn how to do a bit of wrenching. My brother-in-law's old Buell Blast had sat unused for 10 years. Oh, poor Blast.
That's a good bike to start
It
on.
became my guinea pig. It is impossible to overstate how much I had to learn. Taking the gas tank off felt like rocket science.
Yeah.
Between the manual, lots of YouTube videos, I eventually learned how to change oil and check fluids.
That's great.
After 5 months, I took the Blast in for its safety inspection. Besides being required for registration as a first-time tinkerer, I wanted a professional to double-check my work. I am happy to say the bike passed with flying
Yay.
colors.
That's great. Excellent.
Nice.
My mechanic only charged me for half an hour and said there wasn't really anything for him to do. While I am still a beginner, after 5 months of work, the Buell is officially up and running. Yesterday morning, I took it for its first outing. The Blast is a tiny, vibrating, goofy machine, but Emma was right.
It is.
Getting it into a full tuck on the interstate on a bike I worked on was truly amazing. I've said it before and I've said it again. If you were sitting on a bike you have laid your hands on and you're giving it the beans, there is no feeling on earth like it.
Feels great.
It really does. Thank you for encouraging neophytes like me to dip our toes ever so slightly into the mechanical waters. I appreciate all the effort you put into the podcast. You have introduced me to some amazing people, and I am grateful for the chance to have been able to be a small part of a couple of episodes. Keep up the great work. Have a fun time at AMA Vintage Days. Thanks, Mike.
Mike,
Hell
thanks
yeah,
for
dude.
writing in.
I
And
love
so,
everything about that email.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great email.
Congrats on taking the step, dude.
Yeah.
to me, I always look for the second prize. I mean, the first prize, of course, is the email itself. And so I am looking through the pictures that Mike has sent. And my favorite out of all of the pictures, he sent lots of pictures of his bikes and a couple with him sitting on them. And there is a picture of him sitting on his Blast. And the picture is entitled Test Sit JPEG. And he has got the greatest smile. And this is the smile of somebody who's just fixed his own motorbike.
That's rad.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that great?
Good job, Mike.
Shit. Good
let's see.
shit, man.
Look at that face. So well
Indeed.
done, Mike. You know, we tend, when we're faced with something brand new, like laying your hands on your bike, if you've never done it before, it can seem like an insurmountable task. So just take a bite at it. I mean, it happens to me as well. I mean, I'm presented with a Vincent Black Shadow that hasn't run in 30 years. And you look at the whole project and you think, God, I'll never get through this. But you just take little bites at it and just keep biting away at it and just building your confidence, just biting away at little bits. And then before you know it, the thing's done and off you go. And you're getting it safety inspected. The mechanic said, good job.
The thing I love the most, knowing that he went to Motorcycle Relief Project, basically learned how to ride an adventure bike, which then got him to buy a GS. And then he just attacked this small bike to like learn how to wrench. Just knowing, since he first messaged us, how much growth and healing and empowerment that he has gone through, I'm just like so elated and happy for him.
Because motorbikes.
Huge.
Because of motorbikes.
Motorbikes.
So congratulations. I got a real quick one, and then we'll go with Douglas. This is cool. This one is from Mike D. And
hello, Mike.
He says, thanks for a most entertaining podcast. I want to make this short. If you have not watched Himalaya Calling
Achtung
on Prime Video, it is a must. Ewan and Charlie's Way Round series spawned many knockoff ADV series, but in my opinion, these two German guys nailed it. The series is dubbed in English very well, I might add, but it doesn't take away from the ride one bit. And he says, check it out. Peace, Mike D. And I did check it out.
I've seen that. Is it good?
It looks good. It is dubbed, but it's got a voiceover kind of explaining what's going on, almost like a nature video kind of thing, but with a little more humor. It almost reminded me of, remember that movie back when about the little African guy who got hit in the head with a Coke bottle?
With a Coke bottle.
Oh,
The gods must be crazy.
Gods must be crazy.
Brilliant.
It was done like a little bit like that with like a voiceover and these guys going through their stuff. And then every now and then they talk and it was an English voice dub, but
I thought it was dubstep because then Doug would definitely be watching.
But thank you for turning me on to another series on Amazon.
Yeah. Cool.
Himalaya Calling. Check it out. Himalaya
Is it
Calling.
available in the original German?
They go through Pakistan. Yeah. Have you heard of it, Moin?
I haven't. I'm just writing it down.
Yeah, they're
Himalayan Calling.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's available in the original German?
I do not, unless you can get German.
I know
Amazon.
nothing.
I don't know. No.
Because I would be interested in watching the original.
Yeah, I prefer to watch with
Bagel.
subtitles.
Surely
dubbed.
you mean
Not subtitles, dubbed.
sure you
I
mean
don't like dubbed. I prefer subtitles.
Yeah, I do too.
surely Bagel you mean das echte.
Okay.
Das echte, genau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Verstehen.
Douglas,
Yes.
what you got there?
This comes from Alexander. He says, "Hello,
Is that
Misfits."
Alexander
Ooh,
Graham
Alexander.
Bell.
Hello.
Alexander the Great.
Hello.
Alex writes, "I have an 04 Hondo Shadow
Hondo.
Honda
A Honda.
Shadow Saber 1100. Anytime
Saber.
anytime rain is in the forecast, I avoid riding. I'm personally."
Wait, what's that?
Rain.
Can you guys shut the fuck up for a moment?
Wow. No aggression in the room here.
Rain, what is
Yikes.
that?
Anytime rain is in the forecast, I avoid riding. I'm personally not comfortable riding in the rain. The other day I was leaving work. No rain was in the forecast, but halfway home it starts to rain. There was a gas station about 200 yards away. I was going to try to make it there and wait out the rain. Well, about 100 yards from the gas station, my bike died and it would not start back up.
Oh,
I left it on the roadside, on the side of the road, and my wife picked me up. A couple hours after the rain stopped, I went back and the bike fired right up.
Okay.
Of course, like it does. Is it normal for a bike to die when it's raining out, or is there something that needs to be addressed? Thanks, Alex.
I would like
your bike is water soluble.
I wouldn't like riding in the rain even if I was him.
No, it's really very, very simple. The rain or water is an extremely good electrical conductor. It's probably one of the most efficient, in fact. So what you'll find is, and probably you're a victim of your own self, because the bike has only been used in the dry. You'll probably find that the rubber parts around the spark plug caps, or even the rubber on the high tension leads, is kind of dried out and hokey. And so it rained and everything shorted out.
Yeah, Yeah, 04. So
What kind
of bike is it
been 04
Saber.
Honda Shadow Saber.
Hondo
Cylinder.
Shadow.
I was wondering. Yeah, I was like thinking like maybe the front wheel splashing.
Here's your
Cylinder
friend
head?
here, Alex. Go to Ace Hardware and buy yourself a little can of WD-40, and WD stands for water displacer. So if it does it again, find your spark plug caps, spray the living shit out of them with WD-40, and just follow the leads back. And I'm trying to remember on that Saber, I think the coils are under the tank, so give it a good spray under there as well, and just spray everything with WD-40, and off you go, because it will displace all the water. And what you'd actually see, particularly if you're at night, you'd see a little firework display under there. So you'd see the very high voltage coming down the spark plug wires, and instead of going into the sparking plug and sparkling it, it would be sort of turning left and going into the cylinder head, which is not good.
After reading that email, I thought, I wonder if my bikes are waterproofed. I checked the forecast. We do have rain due January 28th.
Really? That's January 28th, 2023.
Yes, that's the
Probably.
forecast for us.
Could it be possible to like his front tires splashing water into the plug wheel and the front cylinder?
Yeah.
Is
I
that
mean,
a
it's
thing,
all
like-
water.
Yeah.
It's all water.
Yeah.
down.
Okay, crazy idea. Should he be in a dark garage with everything shut and spray it down with a hose?
Yeah,
and-
you
and while
can
it's
do that
running,
and
His
see.
and look
wife
for the
can
spark.
spray 'em. Yeah.
Look for the spark.
I've done that before.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be cool.
That's how you light your bike on fire.
I know there are.
Been there.
Make sure,
Oh,
make
no.
sure your garage door is open, please.
Moin, I know there are deserts in Pakistan. I mean, are there areas of Pakistan that have a lot of rain? Or
There's seasons.
Yes.
So right now the monsoon season is going on,
Mm.
and in the south in Karachi, people actually can't get to their houses or get out because there's like 4, 5, 6 feet of water in their street.
Whoa.
And it's really funny. The first time I went to Karachi in the monsoon season, they had regular cars with their exhaust pipes at the bottom. Almost everyone had like a rubber hose pipe sort of thing coming up,
Little
and then
snorkel.
Like a
and then,
reverse snorkel, yeah.
and then a thread
Wow.
holding the pipe into, and the thread is going in the trunk.
oh, right.
Just another pipe up there.
For that reason.
So we do get a lot of rain.
Now, what about in Lahore, in your hometown?
Monsoon hits Lahore and all the way south. The mountains kind of block the heavy clouds, so monsoons don't hit the Himalayas so much. But Lahore sees all four seasons. No snow, but crazy amount of rain every year.
Okay.
Well, I know we get no sympathy here, but the last 2 weekends going down to Monterey, it was like riding through winter in between and the fog.
Yeah.
I used heated grips and heated seat. I'm just
It
saying.
was weird.
That was the first time I used heated grips on Liza's
Oh.
KTM.
They're nice.
Yeah, it was cold.
I wish I had those when I was crossing Turkey a few years ago.
I know.
Well, the
I
scary
know.
thing about the weather, talk about rain, is we may dry lightning is in the forecast tonight. So,
Ooh, I like dry lightning.
No.
well, not
No,
if you're
we
in the
don't.
mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Yeah.
that's what started all those fires by my house last year.
Right.
Ooh.
No, you want to stand on top of the mountain with a golf club above your head.
No.
No, I was on a mountain in a thunderstorm a couple of
And
weeks
curse
ago.
at God.
Yes.
We hid in the truck.
Well, I think that wraps it up. Another good show. A lot of stuff
A
going on.
really good show.
I think we're gonna have next week I'm gonna be posting the show from Vintage Days.
Come say hi to us if you're there.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who's running the garage next week, Liza?
You are.
And that means you will all do exactly what I say.
It's actually Miss Emma's reign of terror and
It
horrible
is
season.
Miss Emma's reign of terror next week.
We got a different kind of monsoon. It's
That's
her
right.
reign of terror.
Après moi, le déluge.
So if you're going to AMA Vintage Days, make sure you look for us. We're going to be over by the party corner in the campground.
You're going to be over hanging around behind the toilet.
We're going to
Just
be
look
in
for the
front
smoke.
of. You look for the not a ramp in front of our
Yeah,
campsite.
not a ramp. I was talking
Yes.
to John earlier today about like cool stuff or just what to do there. Don't forget about the swap meet.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
swap
yeah.
make
Oh, yeah.
time like hours to go stroll through the swap meet.
Well, also, I'm going to have stickers and buffs and maybe a couple T-shirts with me. So if I
Rad.
happen to spot you or you spot me and you're wearing a Motorcycles and Misfits T-shirt,
Does Phil still have the dirt chariots?
no,
Are they
those
still
got left
kicking
behind.
around?
Make sure you
Aw.
come say hi. I got some
And
swag to
So
give
are we
out.
doing the ginger greeting for Bagel too over there?
Yeah, kiss a ginger.
Kiss a ginger.
25 cents. And I do want to apologize to any fans I have who were disappointed I'm not going. I think everybody in this room is glad I'm not going.
Of course not.
No.
But
Well, now that I know we're sharing a trailer, yes. I am glad.
but I really am so desperately busy. I just opened my own bike shop, which coincidentally is called Mototown. Mototown
Yeah.
for the best used bikes. Mototown for the highest quality repairs.
Do you have bikes for sale?
You won't pay more elsewhere. Occasionally. That's not my business. I fix motorcycles. However, if I have a used bike for sale, and I've had a couple, and Liza has bought one of them, it's something that I get in, and I really do it as a pet project. I'll get a bike in that I know I can sell, like a KLR 650, and I'll just go through it front to back.
Yeah.
And I'll completely lose my ass on it, but it doesn't matter. Because to me, the fun is just taking something, just bringing it up to the highest specification, and then selling it on, and look at the adventure that bike's had.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just got to play the crowd pleasers, Get
Yeah,
the
exactly.
KLRs,
But
Honda
it's
Like Elvis, baby.
it's not the business I'm in. I'm not a dealer in any way, shape, or form. I am a motorbike repair woman.
In fact, that bike went on an adventure and has a name. It's called Peg.
Peg.
Exactly. Well, so look for us. And Emma, thanks for holding down the shop. I know you got a Ducati to work on next weekend.
Goodo.
And just a reminder, if you are in the area, come down and visit on a Sunday. We enjoy it. I think Emma will especially enjoy it since we won't be there.
Oh, I love visitors.
Exactly.
I love tormenting strangers.
Yeah, come say hi. We'll go do a West Cliff ride.
And I didn't mention what we did out in the garage. I had a pie station
Yeah, you did.
in the garage today. That's right.
Are you going to come down next week and help me, Doug?
I should be here. Yeah.
Goodo.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a little West Cliff drive.
Okay. Naked.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Let's do it again.
So thanks to everyone, especially our Patreon subscribers.
Who are the best people in the world?
Yes, exactly.
They're pretty
If
chill.
I could give them Nobel Peace Prizes, I would. If I could give them that, I would. That was
Wow.
the dog, wasn't it? Stop squeezing the dog.
Yeah, some Al Pastor.
Don't forget to go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. You'll find all of our stuff there. And check out our YouTube channel. In fact, pretty soon we're going to be doing some more
We are.
Misfits videos.
But if you go to our merch place, you can buy a mug with me sleeping with a
Yeah.
Yamaha.
A mug with your mug on it.
yeah,
Yes.
Zazzle.com Recycle Garage. I think we're ready to get out of here. Thanks again, everyone. This is Liza.
Douglas.
Moin.
What?
It's Little and Stumpy John.
Plant Dad.
Emma, darling.
Naked Jim.
Bagel.
And we're out of here.
Go.
Word to your moms.
All right. Thanks, Bagel.
All right.
goodness.
Thanks,
I gotta
everybody.
get out of
See
here.
you
Happy
on
bagel.
Thursday.
You guys have a good time.
And great seeing you,
Yeah,
Moin.
good luck.
I
Have
hope
fun.
to be back in Pakistan soon. I want to ride your tracks.
He took his
He just
headphones
took-
off.
he just
Please
took his
do,
headphones
please
off.
do.
Okay, put your
Look
headphones
in.
back on.
All right. See ya.